Next topic we have is decision making statement. So decision making statements are those statements with which help you to make some sort of decision. So for example, like if I have a condition, I will check if that condition is true, if that conditions satisfy the condition given, so it will enter that block or else it will exit that block. We have four type of decision making statement: if statement, if else, nested if, and if elif else. So the first type of decision making statement is if statement. So if statement execute a statement, lookup statement. So if this condition is true, it will go inside the statement and execute it. Else, it will not do anything. Like output will be nothing. Output will be blank. So I'll show you. So I'm taking a number. Number is equal to 4. If num %2 is equal to 0, this colon is necessary with this if statement. Just make sure this is part of the syntax. So I'm pressing enter and you can see the cursor is towards the right. So by default this is adjusting the indentation. So anything written with this anything written under this cursor will be the part of this if statement. So I can write print inside if, and then I'll write print. As you can see, print num is even. So as you can see, I've written two statements inside this. So both of these statements are the part of this if block. I've told you earlier, Python does not have a bracket. It contains, like, it has indentation which works like a bracket and which makes the readability of code better. So I will run this. So inside if num is even. So let me take 41. So when I'll run it, so no output is there. Why? Because this condition was false and there is no decision to be made by the interpreter that what will happen if the condition is false. So in this scenario, the if statements come. So as you can see, I have pressed the enter. So it's still inside the if statement. I will backslash it. I will write else. So else is also a keyword. So this scenario in which I have a if statement and if that statement false, so this is looking to make some decision that if the condition is false, what should the interpreter do? So it will look for the else statement, and the else will have whatever instruction to be followed if the condition comes out to be false. So else, sorry, I've done some mistake. Okay, print inside else, print num is odd. So I will run this same statement again. So before we didn't have anything, any statement to follow what will happen if this condition is false. Now we have, so it went inside the else block and printed num is odd. Okay, so this was the second type of decision statement. Third, we have nested if else. So nested if else. Third, we have, I've told you about if else. We have a if condition. If that condition is true, if is followed. Else, if that condition is false, it goes to the else block and that statement or the block is followed. Now we have nested if. It is simply if we have a if statement inside another if statement, and then the inside if can or cannot have a else block, and outside statement can or cannot have a else block. but we have to make sure that this else should be properly indented to whatever part of the if statement it belongs. So if this belongs to the inside of the if statement, the else should be part same indentation as the if of the inside. So I will run a program to check like which number is greater among the three numbers. So I'm taking num 1 is equal to 23. I'm taking by default. I'm not taking the number from user. I'll take the third number from user. 31 num 3 is equal to int input enter number. Okay, so I'm doing nested if. So I'm writing the first if num1 is greater than num2. So I've initially checked if number 1 is greater than num2. So my aim is to see if num1 is greater than other or not. So first statement is num1 is greater than num2. If that is true, it will come inside this if statement. I'm writing another if statement that num1 is greater than num3. So it will look if num1 is greater than num2 and if num1 is greater than 3, print num1 is greater then else. So I'm not writing any else for this if statement, because I just have to look if num1 is greater than either of these other number. So I will write if for the outside I will write else for the outside if. Else print num1 is not greater than either of two numbers. Then I will run it. Okay, I have to enter the third number. I will take 10 here. So num1 is not greater than either of the two number because num2 was 31. Okay. Number 3. I will enter number 3. So now num1 is greater. So it checked 230 with 31. So this was true. Then it went inside this if statement. Then it checked num1 is greater than num3, which was 100 in this case scenario. And then it printed num1 is greater. Now the last type of decision making statement is if, elif and else. So what happened if the condition is true, it executes the if statement, but if it false, it goes to look for another. So else, elif is simply the short form for else if. So if this is false, then we will go to this else if statement and check the condition. If that statement is false, then it will go to the final else statement. If this condition is true, it will run this statement. We can have n number of elif in any case. So I will show you how does this work. I will run this code only. So I'm taking 3 number. Num1 is equal to, okay, there is some issue with the indentation. So num1 num2 is equal to some number, num3 is equal to, like, my aim is to find largest among 4 numbers. Okay, and num4 is equal to, I'll take it as 12. So first I will check if num1 is greater than any of this. Okay, so if statement, if num1 is greater than num2 and num1 is greater than num3 and num1 is greater than num4. So if this statement is true, it will print num1 is largest. If that statement is false, it will go to this else if statement. Because if this statement is false, it goes looking for else statement, but we want another condition. Therefore, we have elif. So elif num2 is greater than num3 and num2 is greater than num4. If this statement is true, it will go inside this block and print num2 is largest. So if any of this, if the condition is false, this simply means number 1 is not greater than any of the other 3 number, and same goes with this, that num2 is might be greater than num1, but it is not greater than num3 or num4. Then we will have another elif. You can see the indentation of this if else if is same, because this if else if is part of the same statement. Like this else if is part of this if, therefore the indentation of this else if is same as the if. Else if num3 is greater than num4. So it will make sure that number 3 is greater than number 4. Print num3 is largest, and then finally else print num4 is largest. So now I will run this. Num3 is largest. Now I will change it. I will change number 4 to 120. Number 4 is largest. I will change number 1 to 230. Number 1 is largest. So this was decision making statement.